Welcome to Find It. On Thanksgiving Eve, I have such a special show. I'm so honored and so blessed and grateful to have the Marty Ford and Michael Throne with us tonight. They are amazing part of this community. We have such good people here, and I would say they're at the top of the list in my book. And so, with that, I would like to show an intro of them, and then they will be right back with us. Hello, guys. How are you?
Hey, Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
Oh my gosh, I am so pumped to have you guys on. Marty, raise your hand, Marty. This is Marty, and this
Hello,
is
everyone.
Mike Throne. And I want to start off by just talking about, like, these are my local people. These are amazing people in this community, and I'm so excited to bring them to you because I know we have a lot of people watching from different areas. So let's just start out by you guys introducing yourselves and telling us what you do around here.
My name is Marty Ford, and I work at Kingston National Bank. I'm the Vice President of Marketing, and I have about 1 million hobbies. I love to play the guitar. I sing a lot, lead worship at my church, and Mike's one of my best friends. So,
of course he is. He's a lot of people's best friends.
He knows a lot of people.
My name is Mike Throne. I am the President and CEO of the Chillicothe Ross Chamber of Commerce. Been in that role for about 4 years, but before that I spent more than 25 years in the news business. I was the editor of the local paper here, and then also a couple other papers. Had a lot of jobs in that time frame, but I moved here in 1997 and thought I'd probably stay for 4 or 5 years and leave, and life intervened, and thank God it did, because I'm here, and this is my best friend, and it's an honor to share this space with him and then share podcast space with him too.
I know. So let's talk a little bit about your podcast because it's really good and a lot of people watch it, and you guys are sponsored and you have a ton of followers. And let's talk about Feels Like Home. And you can see it right now for those of you who are watching and not just listening, scrolling along the bottom. If you want to follow them, you can check them out there. But tell me a little bit about how your podcast came about.
It's all Marty's fault. That's all there is to it.
I mean, if you want to call it fault, right? But yeah, so Mike and I
was the impetus. Is that better? Is that better?
So Mike, he and I love to go. We love live music, and so we go to a lot of concerts together. And we'd always have these great conversations in the car. And we went to Louisville.
Yeah,
yes, Louisville for a Mumford & Son concert midweek on a work night, but neither of us took the day off the next day. But we had this amazing conversation on the way home, and I'm like, you know what? We need to bring more people into this conversation because Mike has a lot to offer, just in conversation, but like just knowledge. And I loved it. We love to talk about similar things. And we're like, I know that more people would love to be in this conversation. So I threw out the idea. I'm like, hey, we should start a podcast.
Yeah. And there you have it.
And from there, I probably pretty much just pulled against the reins.
Yes.
That's exactly what I did. And honestly, I'm a pretty busy person. I have 5 kids ranging in age from 22 to 6. And so like, it's a busy life. And so I just thought, am I really going to have enough time to put into this and to do it well? And I didn't want to let Marty down because I knew Marty was really excited about the idea, and I was lukewarm. I liked it, but I just didn't know if I would have the time. And so it was really during COVID that we kind of decided that we went for a walk when, we tried to maintain 6-foot distance, but I don't hear very well.
Here's a disclaimer.
Yeah. So, but anyhow, that's kind of what birthed it. We decided during that time that, all right, let's just go with this and see what it does.
Yeah. I just wanted to be open to like, where does the conversation go? And let's record a few episodes. I did a ton of research. I'm like, Mike, most podcasts die after 4 episodes because people find out just how hard it is to come up with things to talk about and, guests, if you want to bring guests on, things like that. And so I brought all this research to him and said, hey, here's what we need to do. And so he kind of how we're beat those odds. And that's it's been fun.
Yeah. And we changed it, you know, from the beginning. Like when we first started doing it, we thought we'd do just, you know, sessions where he and I talk about a certain topic or a certain thing, or we did a top 10 list of favorite podcasts at the time, or ones that influenced us.
Yeah.
And we found that, you know, the listenership on those was not strong. And so people really seem to gravitate toward the interviews that we do. Mm-hmm. And so it ended up where it was like, well, you know, people have spoken. Let's not kick against it. Let's just go with it.
Yeah. So we pivoted, and I think at the right time, and we just had a great response.
Yeah.
Oh, I love your podcast. I think it's absolutely amazing. Your sound quality is so good. Your voices you have like radio voices, really. And Marty, he's pointing to you. You do sing, though you have a voice. It's not just an amazing speaking voice, but I've actually watched you in theater at our beautiful, majestic theater. And let me know, Mike, is this accurate? Is the Majestic Theater the oldest still operational theater in the United States?
I believe so. I believe it's the oldest continuously operating theater in the U.S. Yes.
Right. And I had heard that somewhere. And then when someone questioned if that was accurate, I was like, you know what? I've heard it, but I haven't actually researched it myself. But I want to say Heather Bryant and Raquel Savage, they're making comments. There's a lot of people watching right now. People make comments, ask questions if you want to know. I love this. But yeah, so our city is such a cool place. And Mike, with you being the Chamber of Commerce president, CEO and president, you've seen so many changes in the last 4 years. Prior to you becoming CEO, there were a lot of changes happening, but wow, our downtown is just incredible. And the ideas, and I know Bobby Kello is a creative mind too, where she can give ideas and then you guys execute it. Like those, everybody does their own scarecrows in front of their businesses, and they're so creative and fun to look at. And you have a contest. And then right now it looks like a Hallmark Station movie with all the Christmas trees and the decorations. It's just absolutely incredible. And do you have anything coming up in Chillicothe that we should be aware of? I know tomorrow's the Turkey Trot.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Turkey Trot is a big deal here in this community. It celebrates the life of a police officer that passed away a couple decades ago, and but it's a way to honor his legacy by doing this 5K on Thanksgiving Day that ends up giving money to Crime Stoppers, which helps to fund rewards for crime prevention and crime solving in our community. We also have coming up on December 11th at the Ohio University Chillicothe Shoemaker Center. The Columbus Symphony is coming down and doing a holiday extravaganza, holiday pops extravaganza. And they did it for the first time last year. They loved it so much from the symphony side. We loved it so much from our side that we think it's going to become an annual event now.
That's amazing.
So I think it's just one of those things where I feel like the energy in our community now, as opposed to 10, 15 years ago, is just 180. It was for a long time, we just kind of felt sorry for ourselves and, well, our downtown isn't what it should be. And we have these other issues like, drug overdoses and things like that. And I think when we started to solve our own problems and started to take ownership over our own stuff is really when that whole thing changed. We had this great influx of people that decided that they were going to buy buildings and renovate them and keep them historically accurate while updating them for future use. And then we had folks that were just willing to gamble on a dream and brew their own beer and open their own shop and roast their own coffee and do all the fun things that make a great downtown. And and we're still not done. I think we still got a lot that can happen in some of these ones that are still vacant. And, the sky's the limit really for us.
Yeah. And I do see you're wearing your Old Capitol Brewing sweatshirt. And
That
that is a quaint
we didn't say that we were going to represent anybody, but I guess I did.
Well, that's okay. Hey, it's all about showing the love and sharing that. That space is so quaint and cool when you go in there. I love the vibe. It's really, really neat. But yeah, I love the fact that our downtown is historical. Obviously, we were the first capital, and I've been told many times, yes, you people love to mention that. That we were the first capital. So it's funny, but
There's nothing wrong about being proud of that.
There's nothing wrong with it. And it's just, the buildings are historical and beautifully, the architecture. And, it does feel like you're in a Hallmark movie when you go downtown and just park and walk around. But I want to talk a little bit more about Marty, because I was talking about him being a vocalist, but he also is a musician. I love this picture so much.
Recent picture. That's probably.
That's probably.
What is that?
That was
Where
fun.
is that from?
So that was my band. We did a CD release, and that's where that was.
That's right.
So I was wearing
How
my
long
Twitch
ago?
fit. That's probably 11 or 12 years ago.
Wow. Okay. I had never. I was perusing through both of your social media, grabbing pictures that I really liked, and then I
so long ago.
And then this, you guys, for those of you who are not just listening and watching, you can see this is their podcast logo. Feels like home. Isn't that just so cool? I just love it. And I just got to say, I am so proud of both of you. You do so much in the community. Outside of just your career, you do so much. And it's so nice to see people in our community working hard to make it a better place. And I just want to give kudos to both of you for being those people. And like I mentioned before, we have a ton of cool people, but you're really, really cool in my book. So I appreciate you both. And
I'm going to use that as the.
Can we have that?
Yeah, we're going to have that.
So we can share that.
Sure.
I want to talk about too, what are y'all doing for Thanksgiving tomorrow?
So my kids live in Colorado. They decided to move along far away to go to college, and they're home this week. And so we are hosting tomorrow Thanksgiving for my wife Jennifer's side of the family. So we got a busy day. And then
having
we
those
take
babies
the airport.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
then
love
they go back to Colorado. So that's our plan for Thanksgiving.
So Mike's an only child, and he married into a family that is almost as big as Ross County itself.
That's right.
So we go to my in-laws, Byron and Molly Lloyd, and I think actually we're going to go to my brother-in-law, Blake Lloyd. He's a veterinarian here in town. We're going to go there tomorrow because it's a little bigger space. But we'll have quite a few folks there tomorrow night for dinner. And during the day, we're just going to kind of hang out and chill together. Whenever I have time off, I try to maximize the chill time because it's a pretty hectic life outside of that.
Sure. It sure is. Do you guys have traditions for Thanksgiving? Typically, is there certain?
Do you want to hear a weird story about me?
Yeah.
Sure, man. Let's hear it.
So if it were up to everybody else in my family, we would not have turkey on Thanksgiving. But I insist on turkey on Thanksgiving to the point where they now only make the turkey for me. So I guess that would be my only.
So you're the turkey.
I guess so. But seriously, we're actually going when we go tomorrow. I think everybody else is going to eat steak, but I'm not opposed to steak, but it's Thanksgiving, y'all. Come on.
That's right. So my family has a tradition. On Sunday, we met with my side of the family and we hosted that here. And that day was the anniversary. My mom passed away 13 years ago in an accident. And that was during Thanksgiving week, or the week leading up to Thanksgiving. And so for my dad, he was like, yeah, no traditional Thanksgiving. And so from that point forward, with Ford's side of the family, we decided that we do Mexican food.
Oh.
And so that's been our tradition for the last 13 years, is to gather for Thanksgiving and
Taco Thanksgiving.
tacos, anything. I mean, we get Casa del Taco chips. So a great big bag of Casa del Taco chips, and we have all kinds of dips, and it's fun, and just kind of takes the mind off of our loss. That it's a way to celebrate my mom.
That's so true. And you can have your own tradition. It doesn't have to be the actual tradition of having turkey. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of it. Families have their own traditions. I always, it's so different as my children are getting older, because like you, Marty, talk about, they fly away and they go different
Sure.
places. And luckily both of mine are in the Columbus area, but still that isn't here. And
Right.
they are cramming for finals, and Dalton also has to work tomorrow. So we shifted gears, and our normal tradition of gathering with the entire family isn't going to happen. And I'm cooking, and I'm going to take it all to them and hang out with them as long as I can. But I want to say, and thinking about what you're grateful for and thankful for, even though my tradition this year is changing, my mom is also doing something different. A family that I grew up with in the same neighborhood for years, the Reed family, they have decided to have a huge Thanksgiving, invite their dearest friends and all of their family. So my parents and my sisters, I would be going also, but they have the space. It's absolutely ginormous, and they are cooking everything. So the daughters, who one lives in Oklahoma, one lives in Atlanta, Georgia, they are here. They're cooking a feast, and they told my mom, don't make anything, nothing. And my mom's like, I'm a cooker. Like, this is going to be hard for me not to. But I talked to her today, and she goes, nope, I'm going in. But let me tell you, how grateful am I and thankful that I have a family that's been in my life, my entire life, that we're still so close to, and they're sharing their family and their traditions with my parents and my sisters. I'm just like, I'm over the moon about it. It's so great. So thanks to them. They
Yeah,
usually
that's
watch,
awesome.
so they're probably on.
Yeah.
But I guess in life, shifting, being able to roll with, I don't really necessarily, and I'm going to Columbus, but it's like not what I normally do. But I have to get used to that. Do you guys find, I mean, like Marty, with your kids going, but they're home, so you don't have to shift really, but
Yeah, but it's like every life event, you have to prepare for it differently. Caroline graduates in December, and so it'll be a trip out to Colorado to go to her graduation, and we're going to do Christmas while we're out there.
oh
and
wow.
and like that's different. I mean, it'll be the first time ever we've not had our kids at home on Christmas, and it's a change, and it comes with being an adult. Adulting is hard sometimes, but being able to just like understand that December 25th is the day, but Christmas is the season, and we'll celebrate because we're together. And
Oh, I
that-
love that.
yeah, so that's a big change for us. It's going to be hard. Jen's dad passed away earlier this year, and so I know that that's going to be tomorrow will be tough because of that, and Christmas will be tough. It's you have all these firsts without them, and so those are things that we really have to manage and deal with. But I'm still thankful for so many things that those are just small things.
Small things are the big things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm most grateful. I'm most thankful for the way that this community has embraced me. I'm an outsider. I didn't grow up here and go to high school here. I'm originally from Sandusky up on the North Coast. And, I like I said, I came here and just thought I kind of went through the motions when I first got here. Like, well, I won't be here for very long, so it's not that big of a deal. Journalists are kind of transient people. We kind of go from job to job, and I thought for sure that would probably be my path, and so I didn't really do a lot to connect with folks. But then when it kind of seemed like I was going to be staying for a lot longer, that's when I really started making an investment in the community and an investment in what I think I thought would help the community the most. And in turn, I didn't ask for anything in turn, but in turn, they just turned to me as a source and really just started to embrace me. And, I joked a long time ago, like when I would go to high school classes, there were, sophomores and juniors in the class that had more years in the community than I did. So like I should be asking them questions, and really what it's come down to now is now I'm as much a part of the scenery as, Mount Logan or something. So it's fun to be embraced in a community that, didn't really have to accept you as one of their own.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because I have heard people say that they feel like it's very closed when they move in from somewhere else. The only times that but typically that's if they don't have kids in school. Because what I found, like, for instance, I got to say, Jennifer Micus, I don't know if you guys know her, but she grew up moving from city to city in her own family because of her parents' work. And she told me, she said, Debbie, I've lived in Chillicothe longer than any place in my entire life. And she said, I just thought we would be here maybe a couple years and then we would leave. And she said, it sucked me in. So I loved that because, she had kids and she had them in school. So then you meet moms and the dads meet dads through their children being in school. So it's kind of split. I found that people can have like a way of believing that it's a little closed, but I think it's for people who don't yet have children. What are your thoughts on that? Did you feel
Yeah,
like at first you felt kind of closed out?
I think you get what you put in.
Okay.
Ultimately, I think, at the beginning, I wasn't really putting in a lot. And so I wasn't getting much out. And
Oh,
once folks saw that I wanted to be a part of making change and doing things in our community that were going to make us better,
mhm.
and just even to promote the great things that are going on around here, I think they really locked in. That's why I think it's really great that I didn't get the chamber job until 4 years ago, because now I have this network of people that I can work through and work with to try to do better things and better the community. It's not just me trying to do it all by myself. It's not just the chamber trying to do it. It's all the partners that we have that are really
Right.
trying to move the needle forward.
And you know what, Mike? That is so true because you guys that are at the chamber, you guys work like a well-oiled machine. You guys are a team. And I love to see that. It just warms my heart to see like you and Bobby and all the rest of them, you guys come together and the community for sure. And, your openings, ribbon cuttings that you do for all the new businesses, as you did for the athletic center, you were there with your big scissors and we were
Yep.
taking pictures and it was amazing. But Marty, you went to school here. Were you born in this area too? I know you went to
Yeah,
school here.
so I was born in the old Chillicothe Hospital and grew up the first few years of my life over on Hickory Street. And then my parents worked. My dad worked at RCA, and my mom worked at Rubbermaid, where PPG is now, just south of
Yeah.
the mill. And so Kingston was my home place because it was halfway between work for both of them. So I grew up in Kingston, but always knew that I would be back in Chillicothe. And
Yeah.
so when Jim and I got married, we lived in Kingston, and we found ourselves driving to Chillicothe multiple times a day, every day. And we landed up on Grand Avenue for almost 20 years, and then in the place we're at now. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's Chillicothe is one of those communities where like if you, I feel like it was really easy to get connected here, and that's probably because I grew up here. But it is definitely a place that, like you said, kind of sucks you in because if you get connected, you just really feel, ooh, feels like home. You
Oh
feel like
man,
home. It's so easy
grown.
to be comfortable. It's so easy to just see how the community rallies around. And I think that's probably one of the things I'm most proud of is just how this community rallies around events, rallies around issues and problems. And we took it head on, and still working through those things. But it's not. It's definitely a city that's not afraid to try, and that
Yeah.
I want to be a part of. I want to be a part of a community that's what it's about.
Bob Donnell lives out in the LA area. Bob, you're welcome to Chillicothe anytime. We will make it feel like home for you too.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yep.
I
Always
love
welcome.
it. And we had some other people, Trisha Harp is actually Trisha Reed, who I was talking about, Raquel and Julie Preston and Jennifer Valentine, Logan Detty. All of you guys, thank you for commenting and letting us know that you're there. And I gotta say, I have felt so much support when I started this. I didn't know what I was doing, and I'm still learning. There's a lot to learn when you do things like this. And people show up live every week, and this is my people, It's
Right.
like it makes me feel I just feel the love. I really, really do. And you guys have noted before that I have really good friends. And a lot of, and they all tune in, but a lot of people who I'm just getting to know are tuning in. So it's like, wow, this is so cool. And I love it that they support all of us, just like, oh my gosh, let's talk about this. So when I told you, Marty, I'm like, I'm starting this podcast. I really don't know what I'm doing. I need, tell me what equipment I need. Like, and then you gave me a microphone. Look, I don't even know what the name of it is. You gave me a microphone, like just gave it to me. I'm like, he is so sweet. And then every time I would try to use it, and then I'd try to use the earbuds, and I was just like, huh, and I stopped using it. And then Elena Beverly started her podcast, and she and I were talking. She goes, I could really use another microphone. And she was talking about you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, he paid it forward to me. And now I'm going to pay it forward to you, because I sit there and look at it and I don't use it. So I gave it to her. But like, that's so cool of you, Marty, because, here you're doing podcasting and you want to help everyone else do well is also.
Well, I think that's a great example of this community.
Yeah.
There was a need. I wanted to see you succeed, and I was just going to help out however I can. If that's kind of donating you a mic so you can get started. There's other podcasts that have started in town, and I've helped them with their sound issues or try to make their recordings better. I'm a gear guy. I enjoy that. It's fun for me. One of the things I told Mike when we started our podcast is like, it's going to sound good, period. Because people can deal with bad video, but they can't deal with bad audio.
Right.
And those that's important to me. So when you said you wanted to start this, it was important to me to get you out on your best foot forward. So
I know. And I appreciate you. You have no idea how much I appreciate you. And I sit without a microphone because I am not a gearhead, and I wasn't able to get all my stuff. And I started this and flew by the seat of my pants, which is not my personality. I typically like everything to be a certain way and understand what I'm doing prior to doing it. But I had some people kicking me in the drawers saying, you can wait your whole life to get everything perfect. It's never going to be, which I know. So here we are, and it's working out just fine.
Just hit the record button, Debbie. Just hit the record button. It doesn't matter.
Well, then I have Lynn in the back, so she makes me look good.
Hey,
but
it's good to have a good producer, and it's good to have somebody that will just let you show up and talk. That's what I do.
What are you trying to say?
Hey, I'm trying to say that's the reason why I'm sitting here right now, because if I had to do anything technical, I would be out the door. So
yeah. And the thing is too, like, I know we can learn, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to interview and hear what you're saying and be in the moment and not worry about all the other stuff, because it doesn't come naturally to me. And there's a learning curve there. I mean, that you don't just know how to do this stuff.
Well, I definitely didn't want the technology to interfere with any of that. So like for our podcast, I wanted it to sound good, but I didn't want it to make people nervous or interfere with what we were doing.
Yeah. And this looks really pretty, but there's only so much space in this head. So, and I have to use it for like obscure baseball facts. So
Those
I
are
don't
important.
really have any place to put stuff about.
Oh my gosh.
Technology.
Amen. I'm the same way. I've got fashion stuff, marketing stuff. If I have to plug in something, it stresses me out. Let me just tell you, I don't need to do all that.
I can probably tell you the entire cast of the Breakfast Club, but I couldn't tell you one thing about how to turn that computer on, probably. So
it's awesome. Hey, well, we have our priorities, Mike. We have our priorities. Okay. Oh, I think Len needs to delete some special people were popping in. I don't know who they were.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
some
That's funny.
comments, you guys, maybe we should show them just to be funny. I don't know. No. Look at you guys brought some just
Yeah, I don't
teasing.
know. I don't know how
Bring
to
it up.
react to that.
Yeah,
You guys, I know. I don't
mean,
either.
We've
I've
not
never
had
seen
that
that
yet,
happen
so
before.
must be the
I want-
video medium.
I want to show this picture because this is one of my favorite pictures of you, Mike.
Yeah.
What was going on? And I love that for those that can't see this right now, this is Michael Throne in a bright yellow suit. And he's
rocking the
in front
bright
of the
yellow suit.
courthouse on Paint Street. And you see the big blue bus in the back, which I am obsessed with. Mary Montgomery drives that bus around and feeds children. And it's especially in the summertime when the kids aren't in school and maybe that's their only warm meal. And she goes from place to place. I mean, our community is just like rock solid. What were you doing in the yellow suit? Tell us about it.
All right. So in May of every year, I think it's the first Friday in May, we do a thing called Yellow Day here. And it was started far, far away, but there's a link to Chillicothe. So years ago, there was a teacher, and this teacher had a great impact on the other teachers around her, on the students and so on. And unfortunately, she developed cancer and she passed away. But her son married a local girl to Chillicothe and lives here now. And so it kind of migrated east when they came from that area in Chicago. And so we have kind of adopted Yellow Day as kind of our own thing. And so it was, for us, it just sort of started out like, we'll go gather at the courthouse with all these kids and have some fun and spread kindness throughout the community, do some acts of kindness and things like that. And then I got this crazy idea I wonder if they make completely yellow suits.
Of course they do.
Of course they do. Yeah. So, so then the suit was purchased from Amazon. They didn't have it at the local tuxedo shop.
I can't imagine why.
And I actually had a dress shirt that I wore the first year, and then bright neon highlighter yellow K-Swiss and yellow socks. I even had yellow sunglasses the first year. I think my kids broke the yellow sunglasses. But Yellow Day is just such a fun day because it really is, again, it's taking something really, really some tough circumstances and trying to make something better out of it. And I think this community has really embraced it. We actually had the author that wrote the book, who was one of the teachers that worked with Ben Trotter is the young man whose mother passed away. Right. And he actually came last year for the Yellow Day big ceremony that we do in the courthouse steps, and shared a lot. And I mean, what a great way to turn something around, not only for our community, but just trying to spread kindness throughout the entire community and throughout the whole nation, for that matter, all the world.
Right. And each of us can make a difference. Let's just be real about that. When someone says, even like with voting, well, I'm not going to vote, I'm just one person. Yeah, but if everyone thought that, then no one would vote. So it works the opposite way. We all have to do kind things. And I got to tell you, this is so cute. So that was in May, Yellow Day. And then very soon after that was when we did the Keys to Success year-end event in front of the courthouse. We did it outside this year on Paint. And as I was setting up, and Andrew Vitito, he's a gearhead too. God love him. He came and set up all the sound equipment. Let's just give a shout out to Andrew Vitito. Right. God. And he was setting things up, and I was probably in the way, yelling, "Can I help do something?" And he's like, "Really, just stay away." Cause so I was like decorating things, but I looked down and I saw a little yellow rock, and in blue, someone had written, so they painted the rock yellow. It said, "Be kind." And when I saw it, I'm like, oh, remnants of Yellow Day.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right on the courthouse steps, still there. It just, I loved it. It was so amazing. It was amazing. So I just so appreciate, what you all do in the community. But more than that, like even, Marty, you're not the Chamber of Commerce president, but you're working with kids in the church, and tell me some other things. Like, let's just talk about when you donated painted boards. What are they actually called? Not skateboards. Are they called
Longboards. Yeah.
longboards? Yeah. Tell us about that, because that's super interesting to me, and they're so cool.
Yeah, a little side hustle that I had. Caroline, my youngest daughter,
One of many side hustles.
I know.
always have a lot of little
It's
side hustles.
never ending.
It started across the table at dinner, like, Dad, how do you start a business? And I'm like, well, you have to have an idea, and then you start there. And it became, we started making longboards out of the garage, just, long skateboards. And Debbie saw them and said, hey, could you paint one, school colors for Chillicothe? And I'm like, yeah, and I'll donate it to the cause, because it was fun. And I just wanted, kids to have something cool to ride around town. I still see the board around town,
And
which is
they
crazy.
loved it. And in fact, and I looked and looked and looked for that picture of that longboard, because I was going to pop it up on the screen, and I could not find it. And I remember the kid that won it was super excited, and he would actually use it, which you take a chance, right? Like
Right.
sometimes kids exchange, they'll win something and someone else wins something in exchange. But the kid that won the longboard, like, actually was flipping out, like, I love skateboards, like, I will use this. And then a whole bunch of other kids were like, where did you get that? Where is it? And I said, well, we said it was, Marty Ford makes them, like, creates them, makes them, paints them. So cool. Like, all the things that you do. You're a musician. You're crafty. What are
like
what
said, I've got a million hobbies. I can't make any
know.
money on any of them, but it's
but
I have a lot of fun.
We should have used the scroll at the bottom to list all of Marty's
Yeah.
side hustles and hobbies.
Yeah, I've started sketching here lately.
Well, that's what I was going to talk about. That I didn't know you could draw like that.
I didn't know that I could either. And it's really, if you look up real close, they're not great. But I took an art class online just because I was curious and needed something for my head, just like I'll be on the phone at work and I'll start doodling, and at the end it's just ink on a paper. There's no structure to it. I'm like, you know what? I really like some structure to my sketching, and I love architecture. And I used to, in high school and even in college, I started as a civil engineer, and drafting was one of the things before it kind of went AutoCAD.
Wow.
And I loved to do like floor plans and draw houses. And so this is just expressive sketching. So it's fun. And I'm just picking random buildings from here in Chillicothe to draw, and I post them on my Instagram account, and then people call and go, will you do my house? Will you can I get that for Christmas? And it's just It's been weird, but it's been fun.
Yeah. That's really cool. Can you do can you do this for me? Can you draw the school and then we'll auction it off? Okay, so but wait a minute. Do you also do things like contracting stuff in your home, because you have this older home? Are you able to do things like that too, Marty?
I'm a little handy. My thing is I don't most of the time these things don't scare me. So I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm not scared to jump in and try to fix something. So my dad was real handy. My grandparents, both my grandpas, were real handy. So it comes in handy.
You learn from them too.
Yeah,
well, you know what? Sure. Here's what I know about you. The fact that you continue to learn. You want to try new things, and that keeps us young, Yes. You may have been born in the original Chillicothe Hospital, which kind of dated you a minute.
It does date me a little bit, yeah.
But you are going to be young forever because you're on a constant learning track. I love that.
Let's hope, Debbie. Let's hope that's the case.
Right. That's right. So tell me, do you guys have anything upcoming that maybe you can share on this podcast? Like anything new that's going to happen in town, or Marty's going to start building houses? I don't know.
No new hobbies. Jen's cutting me off.
I'm going to build him a doghouse so he can go in there when he gets another hobby.
Yeah,
right. Because I'm sure Jen's probably like, you need one more thing to do, honey.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I mean, I think generally, like, we always want to continue to challenge ourselves with the podcast. Like I just sent an idea to Marty the other day where we would bring on a guest or maybe even two, and we would throw out a topic like maybe the day before, best Christmas movies. And then everybody would have to have a list, and we would take from that list and then just talk about why we selected whatever we do. Those don't really fit into what we're doing with Feels Like Home, but we can make them a bonus episode, or we can make it a whole new thing for that matter. And so I still want to do, Marty's probably tired of hearing me say this, but I want to do a project that chronicles the renaissance of our downtown and how that got done, because I think it's helpful for other people to learn.
Yes.
And so that'll take a lot of man hours, a lot of interviews, a lot of, storyboarding out and things like that. So, those are a couple of the things that we want to do. We want to buy merch and give it away to
that would
people.
be cool.
Right.
I would love to have a Feels Like Home t-shirt
That's
or
right.
a hat, like a ball
There
cap.
we go. Yeah.
We've talked about that.
These are the things that we sit around and think about, like when we're just sitting on our piles of money, because we have a sponsor and things like that. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
Did I
had
get
some
that wrong?
shirts
Yeah,
made.
I think there was maybe one mistake in there.
Okay,
But that's
good.
okay.
Good.
I did. I
Piles
had
of
some
money.
shirt.
Piles
I
of
had
money.
some hats and I had some shirts made, but just for myself for Find It. But I have the QR code as the exclamation point so that people can zoom it or, put their camera on it when I wear the shirt, and they'll have my YouTube station. I need a lot of work on YouTube. So if you guys have any ideas about that to get,
Marty,
it's,
guess what? Marty's got another hobby of YouTube too. So
Yeah, we talked about this
know. I watched one of them. I was just impressed. It's just the creativity and the ability to connect with people is just outstanding in my opinion. I love it. But I do want to talk about, I know we're kind of winding down a little bit, but since the show is called Find It, we're all searching or seeking or have found things or looking for something in life. But with the both of you in life, what have you found that you can share with us to inspire us to find it too?
So I'm real big on work-life balance. And it's very difficult to do. But I do take a lot of, so I grew up an only child. And so, having 5 kids and a huge family on my wife's side and people touching my stuff all the time is kind of annoying sometimes. And so I don't mean that, Kels. That's my wife.
Only partly joking.
But I really started to study what it was like to have a life that was much more in balance, because the job that I had former when I was the editor, there was no balance. I'd miss a lot of things for my kids. And a lot of things with my wife. We didn't take a lot of date nights and do things like that because I was always on the go and I was going different communities and things like that. So when I left, actually, even before I left, probably about 2 years before I left the newspaper business, I just started to really value and protect my own time. And, I have little rituals that I do. So like when I walk in the door, the first thing I do is I change my clothes. I'm throwing off work and putting on family. And, sometimes that's not till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. But on those days, it feels a little out of balance, but I'm trying to stay with those rituals and trying to help people find that work-life balance for themselves as well. Because it's not something that I valued much before. And I felt like it cost me relationships and it cost me time with people that I love and care for. And so, the only way to stop that was to invent a whole new process and try to figure out how to get more balance in my life.
That's incredible. I love the idea of it's taking off the day and putting on family. Wow, that's really inspiring. Mike, I love that because in your mind, you're triggering it, right? It's like, that's done. That's really a cool concept and idea. Thank you for sharing that with us. What do you have to say, Marty?
Yeah.
What have you found?
I think that I mentioned earlier about losing my mom years ago. And one of the things that she always said, and I was thinking about it when we were talking about Yellow Day, is it never costs you anything to be kind. And I really have tried to live my life in that way of just trying to be kind to people. Always try to smile and make eye contact with people and say hello. And it sometimes when people are with me, walking down the street and I speak to just about everyone that we walk by, it drives them crazy a little bit. But I just, you never know what that person's going through. You don't know what's, maybe some of the tough things that they they're going through, or what they might be on their way to do that might be bad. And you just say hello and smile, and it could change somebody's path. And my mom was a big advocate for that. She, like me and my brother and my sister, she was always, telling us those kind of things. Like, it doesn't cost you anything to smile. It doesn't cost you anything to be kind to people. And just try to live my life that way. And I think that's the thing that I've figured out, or found out, that is important. And then people hopefully recognize that in me, and makes them go, what's different about that guy? And then I have this amazing opportunity to talk about, my faith and all those other things that are important to me. So,
you know what, Marty, I can tell you right now, your mother is shining down on you, and so proud of you, because everything that you do comes with love behind it. You are one of the kindest people I have ever met. You're a genuine person. I adore the person you are. And so, you what you say you want to do is exactly what you do. And I'm just so proud to know you guys, to know you, and to know both of you. So I just, my heart's so warm tonight, and I'm so grateful that you guys came on the show. And, I've been on yours, and I wanted to say too, that was an honor. And when I went into your man cave, and, you had a soundboard and everything, you guys calmed me down. It wasn't like I had to work the soundboard. I just got to sit there and talk into a proper microphone. Hi, Cannon. And I was so at ease with you guys. It was just like, we were just having a conversation. It was wonderful. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone watching and everyone listening. And the words from both of these men of work, family balance, and being kind are beautiful messages to end the show with. So with that, I would like to tell everybody again, happy Thanksgiving. I do want to announce that I have a special show tomorrow night, because Rami El-Batrawi was only on a couple of minutes a few weeks ago. So he came back, and that will be tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And then listen to this, Mike. Next week, we have Wednesday night at our regular time is Steve Stivers, and he's the Chamber of Commerce president of Franklin County in Columbus. Yep. So
Ohio Chamber of Commerce, yes.
Yeah, so he'll be on next week at our regular time. But tomorrow we do have a special show with Rami El-Batrawi, and he's giving away free books. So anyway, with that, I want to hang tight, you guys, and I'll see you in the back room. And we're going to show, I know what I want to Okay, so that was really crazy, because I did that today. And then I put music to it, but then I made it speed up. So the music's going nuts. But anyway, you're getting a little idea. Downtown, just a little snippet. There's so much more that I didn't show, but it's a great city, and we have great people, and love to both of you. And with that, we'll do our outro, and I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes.
That floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall